Gonna double check. Just cross-reference. Nice. Alright, this video is titled A Live Disclosure. And it doesn't really mean a whole lot, exactly. Other than the video is titled A Live Disclosure. Disclosing events that happened over the past month when I left to go to North Dakota, then I ended up in Florida, and now I'm back home. That's basically it. Okay, leaving for North Dakota. What happened when I left for North Dakota? There's all this hype going on of what I wanted to do in North Dakota. A couple things, like this idea of a documentary that I had that I wanted to make, which ended up not happening at all. Probably for good reason, actually. Maybe. Who knows? My apologies, everybody. I am sick right now. I'm getting over being sick, actually, so bear with me. Okay. Went out to North Dakota. It was fantastic. It was a very beautiful place, actually. Hills, rolling hills out there. It's fantastic. You got to see the buffalo up close. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome scenery. The things that are going on down there are kind of not so awesome, but is what it is. It's pretty hectic out there. It's pretty, I'm going to say is like decently organized, but unorganized. There's small pockets of organization within the area that keep it together. And the natives and their elders have a pretty good lockdown and idea of what they're doing, so that's good. They have, they have a vision. They have they have what they're doing. I don't know what to say. I don't want to say a whole lot because then I don't know. Can't say an entire whole lot about it. The documentation process actually getting able to video anything or photograph anything, you had to have like special permission. You had to have been followed around by other people who were part of the native tribes that are running that area. There's certain things you can document, and there's certain things that they didn't want documented, like sacred fires and prayer ceremonies and things like that. Things that kind of relate to their culture and their way of life, and the way that they do prayer and ceremony. But that's all over the place, so you have to be very careful of what you can and cannot photograph. So you see a lot of photographs coming out of there that look kind of similar. There's not a lot of like in the area that you can do a lot of video recording and stuff without somebody. If it's obvious, someone's gonna pull you off to the side. Now they have a good setup out there though. It was awesome. On our way down, was with buddy Ryan and Jamie. We went and picked up Jamie in Chicago. We went down there. I went down there. I got picked up by our buddy Ryan, who's the man, like, just absolutely the man. He had the most resources that we had available. Like, at first we were, like, button heads, and then we ended up being really cool towards the end and, like, being good friends. And it was awesome. Like, there was definitely, like, a lot of, like, elbow rubbing, but, dude, Ryan was the man. He had all the gear that we, could have needed or more, and he just, like, when it came to resources and stuff, that guy, he had it set up. So huge shout out to Ryan Glantz for being a super trooper during that period. Um, Super shout out to Jamie Lynn for being there with us too. Uh, we were on our way down. I think we were in Minnesota somewhere, going cross country from the East Coast in. So we were in Minnesota when we were at this rest stop, and we get stopped by, or we didn't get stopped, but I saw this woman. Uh, the other two were in the car. They were taking a nap, and I was in the rest stop. I was using the bathroom and everything, and I was coming out of the restroom. I saw this woman. We met her. She is from the Sesiton Wahpeton Oyate tribe, and she actually ended up taking some of our gear for us because we were weighted down and we didn't want to get stopped was the thing, because we didn't want to get stopped for being like, too weighted down or anything like that. So she took some of our gear for us, and it was quite an adventure trying to get, find her where she was and get that gear back. But they helped us out, and then they invited us to stay inside of their campground that was in part of the larger campground. So we stayed in the Oseti Sakoan camp with the Sesiton Wahpeton Oyate tribe. We stayed there for a few days, and then we got word of some super heavy snow coming through, so we decided to get out of there earlier than we wanted to. Supposed to be there for 2 weeks, but we ended up not being there for that long, that period of time. And that's when we had to cut it. We had to split, unfortunately. Wanted to be there for a little bit longer. It's definitely a war zone out there. It's crazy. Not like a literal war zone, but it's definitely got a feel to it. Definitely got a feel to it. There's a lot of love in the area, but it's shrouded with a lot of negative stuff, just from everything that's going on, all the people that are getting hurt out there, instigators and all different kinds of things like that are happening. That is, huge shout out to all the water protectors out there, all our relatives that are still out there at the camp. Keep fighting the good fight. After that, that's covered. Super huge shout out to Ryan Glantz again for coming through heavy on all the supplies and just being a super trooper. I know, like, a lot of people were kind of getting uncomfortable in the situation, and we were sticking it out for as long as we could and just trying to do it. You know what I mean? I feel like we left before we had an opportunity to really start getting some decent stuff going. There's gonna be an article coming out about that, and an article coming out probably about some of the stuff that was going down in Florida. The whole thing with Florida was we went out there with like an idea, but it just wasn't on the right page. Yeah, it was a mess, I guess. Needless to say, very glad to be back home. Um, yes. Now, as far as the future for this channel, where is the future of this channel going to go? This channel is probably going to go somewhere in a direction with tying in extraterrestrial disclosure in with conscious awakening and relative events, or relevant events. That's what I want to start going in the direction of. We're going to see where it pans out, see what we can do, see what we can't get picked up. Huge shout out to the water protectors and relatives down at Oseti Sakoan and all the other surrounding camps. There's going to be more coming out in an article that'll be on ParadigmShiftCentral.com. definitely check that out. ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Oh, there's going to be the photos in there too. Don't have any video footage of anything from Oseti Sokoran camp or anything like that. I don't have any video, but I have some photos. I was able to get some alright photos. And on the way in, we passed these big fucking police trucks with like just crazy equipment hanging off the sides of it and off the top. So I'm gonna post a photo of that as well. Gonna try and get that one on Facebook, maybe see if I can circulate that one around. Um, yeah, it's basically what was going on. I don't know what to say because we weren't there for nearly as long as I wanted to be. Um, so I did not get the chance to actually fully integrate with the people out there, you know. But there are a lot of people. There's definitely a good mix of people. You have the sovereign natives, and then you have just people like me and Ryan and Jamie who went to because we feel like we wanted to go and help and do something about what's going on. And granted, we weren't there for nearly as long as we wanted to be, but we were there. And I don't know how much that's actually saying, but regardless, it did occur. And everything that happened between going to North Dakota and going into Florida and the events that went down in Florida and the way that they did go down in Florida and the way that each individual was alternatively perceiving them to be and the way that it was just clashing it was just so crazy. It was like what kind of journey is this? It was like wow, it was like constant conflict like along the entire way except for North Dakota. When I was at North Dakota and I was with the natives and hanging out with them, that was the only time that I did not have like some sort of constant conflict or somebody had a defense up because they didn't feel comfortable, you know. It was like the only times with these Native American people was when I was with them. It was like literally the only time that there was not a constant state of conflict going on. that's saying a lot because you're out here trying to connect with people through a program that you thought were going to be like-minded, and you have this idea that everything's going to kind of come easily, not exactly easily, but you have this idea that uh, at least you'd see eye to eye. And then when you get there, and then it's like when it actually, comes up and it's like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, there is no seeing eye to eye, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what was really crazy for me. That's what was really intense for me. It was like how there was a lacking of seeing eye to eye. And, that's not to say that I'm 100%, like, not in the wrong, but the whole entire time, like I can easily, put myself in someone else's situation and come to understand, their style of thinking. But it's when, I guess it's just when, there's kind of like a lacking of that, like, reciprocated, that you get that kind of conflict. Or maybe cognitive dissonance just gets in the way and you don't really, you know what I mean? It's like, something there. It's like you'd think that everything would fall in line, but instead there's not. There's this kind of conflict going on, and that's on a basis of like it's just like it was just a questioning thing. But that's exactly what that was supposed to be. Like that whole entire journey was supposed. The whole entire loop that I did was in itself just a massive series of lessons to be learned on all parts for everybody in each different way. It's like kind of. It's not like that there was a lacking or an inability to like sort of let go of menial things and sort of just be able to like cooperate as a team and in a teamwork fashion. But I mean, some people just don't know how to do that. Some people don't. Some people just don't, or haven't done that because of certain things. You know, shit that happens in people's lives that creates them to think a certain way. That's okay. And out of everything, it's like, all right, each one of us is on our own individual path, and it's like, all right, cool. So, you know what I mean? At what moment in time, or at what point does it make you, better than someone else? Well, granted, it doesn't. It never does, and that's where, I think that's where some of the problems lie. Where it's like, no, dude, it's like, no, you're not better than someone else because of this. You're just, that's just your personal style. And that goes down to figuring it out and getting down to this whole manifesting your reality, utilizing the single thought process that a single thought can create something to happen instantaneously when you've ascertained that fifth dimensional energy kind of relationship, that symbiosis. And it's using, a single thought to create an action, to create manifestation. And people don't understand. It's like, if you've got that figured out, like whatever you do to get there, that's what you do. You know what I mean? That's how you've done that. You've achieved that level. You've figured it out. That's how you did it. And then at what point does it allow you to go, no, you're wrong and I'm right, because what you think, is like you want to tell me that I'm wrong. It's like, no, I've been doing this, and like that's how I got here actually. But you're gonna kind of just, it's not, that anyone was saying any was wrong or this or that. It was just, at what point do you make that discerning level of when a situation, foreseeing a toxic situation to continue being a certain way. It's like, at what point do you remove yourself because of basically, oh no. It looks as though I am frozen. Alright, I think I'm back. Okay. Anyway, uh, it's where you got to, it's where you got to be right now, and it's like, if someone is trying to push an idea on you that everything that you have gained to know to this moment is the way that it is, and then someone else comes along and tries to be like, oh, you're not right, no, and that gets them like the post I made the other day, like, I have a book, I have a book too. It's like Muslims and Christians going at it, and then the two scientists sitting back and saying, I think these people need more books, and at what point where you continue to reach a level of docile and you continue to, be the docile one, when you just take a position of, I can't think of the word, when you take a position of, it's basically like the more docile I became, the more argumentative the other party became, and that's what I didn't understand, is that the lack of argument, the lack of engagement, causing, more frustration. That just didn't register with me. And I just feel like that is unhealthy. If you're gonna take a stance of, docile, sort of like, kind of just like taking a step back and be like, no, I don't really get what you're saying. And then, it is what it is. is when one party becomes docile and the other one continues to prod until, try and prod, like, until an argument arises. Don't understand why the instigation had to occur that way. All in all, it's just different people are, everyone's at a different portion of growth. And when you have people who are in portions of growth over here in these areas, and then you have someone else who's in a portion of growth over here in like a completely different area, and it's something that you can't relate to. There's like nothing you can exactly do because you can't sympathize with the person. You can empathize with the person, or I don't know if I'm using that correctly. It's one way or the other where it's like you haven't been there. You haven't. You know what I mean? You haven't been in that situation, so you literally cannot do anything. When it's like, okay, like, what do you do? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. Basically, if you're in a situation, if you have areas of growth that are in a different area of growth that you can't relate to, that growth has to be done on your own, and that's what creates these different pockets of misunderstanding where it's like people are, you have one party screaming and the other party is like just becoming more docile, and then you're like, okay, what? And you continue to take the stance of non-confrontation, and you continue to, basically just try and be as calm as you can be, and the other person's just kind of being ballistic, then yeah, then that's instigating, and but that arises when people are in different periods of growth and different portions of life. That's how that occurs. So it's important to know when it's time to take a step back and rethink and reevaluate and say, okay, you know what I mean, like this, like was this, idea coming together like this? It's like, okay, then you realize and you see everyone's at different portions right now. Everyone's at a different spot, a different period of um, of growth in a different aspect of their life than as to each other. No one's really on the same page, and if no one's on the same page on like a personal growth, sort of like emotional maturity and mental maturity kind of status, if you still have a lot of things blocking you up and you still have a lot of things that are keeping you down, then yeah, you're not gonna see eye to eye with someone else that thinks, a certain way, or that is, capable of just sort of being cool with themselves, and you're not really gonna see eye to eye, and that's okay. Um, if you're getting down to the point where people are arguing semantics over each other, and that's useless. That is insanity, and that like that's just what you have to watch out for in group efforts and group activities. You want to be able to know that, like, okay, I'm solid, I'm legit, I'm you know, and but my teammates got my back. But if you're at a point where it's like, no, my teammates, coming at me in a certain type way, and I haven't done anything, and they continue to do that, then yeah, someone's instigating because they wanna have a fight, and it's one of the reasons that I had to get out of Florida and get out of there. Um, so I mean, that's just how it happened. You know what I mean? And much love to my friends in Florida. Really, really do send them light and love, and I wish that they can, be able to come to them. They're good. They're fine. You know what I mean? They are where they are exactly where they need to be in life right now. You know what I mean? Like they're they will continue to do good. But as far as what we had to do out there, no, that's my portion of time in Florida was not exactly meant to stay. But I am very excited to see what is going to be created and come out of that area, because Just because, you know, there was like an, just because there, like I didn't exactly fit in that space doesn't mean that the people that are there that do get along can't create something wonderful and beautiful in that area. You know what I mean? There's just, certain things that are, certain things that I can't exactly get into directly over this video because it's intrusive to people's personal lives, but there are just certain things that get in the way of agreements between, you know what I mean? It's not that like, you hate somebody, but it's just like, there's certain things that get in the way, and you know what I mean? Like, that just comes from people being at different portions of readiness in their lives, or different periods of growth. When you come for someone where it's like if you literally cannot grasp your fucking head around something, and then, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, I've got shit figured out my way, and I'm gonna continue doing it that way. I love you guys to death, so like right now, I've gotta continue doing it my way. You know what I mean? So that's essentially where that one lied. Uh, that's what eventually led me to come back here to Delaware. But that's awesome. I'm very glad to be home, because now, you know what I mean. I have my space that I need to grow and learn, and continue doing my thing in the way that I need to do it, and the other people involved have their space to do it the way that they need to do it as well. And that's fantastic. That's the way it needs to be done. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of Florida, and and if it's just, extremely awesome personal growth for the people that are out there, then that's fucking awesome. You don't have to be a part of like the video making and stuff like that. As long as you know that like people love you and care about you, and that, you know, there is an involvement for you, then that's all that matters. Like, go ahead and do your thing the way that you need to do it. That's essentially where it boils down to, you know? But make sure that like, if you've got it figured out a certain way, and you need to do it that certain way, and you need to listen to yourself, if your higher self is telling you a certain thing, go with it. It might not feel like the right thing at first, but once you get settled down again, you'll realize everything that comes through. Because this whole entire journey was just a massive download of information. It was just to go out, collect information, and do all this, come back, and utilize these lessons and continue to put them back into play. I'm excited to see what comes out of Florida. I'm excited to see what holds for the future of this channel. Very excited about a lot of different things. Namaste, my friends. Kyle9. Breaking the radio silence. As far as the future direction of this channel, I think it's going to go, when I say, we're going to be covering everything that we were doing. We're going to be doing some broadcasts. The broadcasts are going to cover different topics. I want to incorporate some help with my friend Roman. He's got Renegade Authanium page, I think is the YouTube page. If anything else, I will we'll try and get a link in to it for you guys. I'll try and get that. I'll get his YouTube channel linked in with mine. I think he wanted to do a broadcast coming up sometime soon, but we're gonna have to see what that's gonna pan out to be. I'm gonna try and do a broadcast. We're gonna cover extraterrestrial. Yeah, you guys know what's up. Extraterrestrials and unearthing the mysteries of the universe. Remember, you are dreaming, and you need to. Sorry, you guys. I'm kind of burning out here. I don't know where I'm going anymore. This is Kyle9 reminding you to awaken within the dream. You are the universe reciprocating itself into planet Earth in order to understand itself better and create and learn new things. Namaste, my friends. And I'm going to close this broadcast out now. Boom. Shout out to the 2 people that I had watching one point. I think we had 3 people at one point. Yeah. Boom.